Hey, it's Dorleen, and today I'm playing in my junk journal. What I'm going to do today is I'm trying to transfer that flower image onto my junk journal page. So I'm kind of going old school with this, rubbing my pencil on the back and then using a pretty strong for marks on this pencil to transfer it. But when you'll notice, that didn't work. So I didn't want to spend too much time since it wasn't working. So what I decided to do is try putting chalk on the back to see if that would make a difference. Now, I don't know if it was because I had already put the pencils, shade of the pencil on it, or if it just wasn't going to work, because that didn't work either. So what I decided to do is I've seen people do image transfers with Mod Podge, and I thought I'm going to give it a try. So this is the first time I've ever done it. I probably should have put a little bit more thicker of the Mod Podge on it, and I don't necessarily think I had to put it over the top like I did here, but I was kind of going by memory, and it still kind of worked okay. I really should have let that dry a little more, but I was so freaked out that that paper was just going to be attached to the already painted page, and you can see that it is rubbing off. So what you do is, again, allow it to dry, and then you wet it, and then you basically just rub the paper off, and it kind of balls up, but the image stays on the surface. So again, I kind of panicked because it was paper on paper with glue, and I thought, oh, this is going to be an ugly mess. So I didn't really allow it to dry. But you can see that I added a pen, or used a pen, to draw the rest of the petals as best as I could. I did have two of those images, so I kind of used the other one to guess where the petals were. So what I'm going to do is, within the petals, the leaves, etc., I'm filling it with paper. So I'm doing like a paper piecing. So I grabbed some green scraps, which you saw me doing. I have an envelope that just has random green papers. A lot of them were like, there was a ticket envelopes, just basically junk, right? That were green. I have one of those clear envelopes for like every color. So there's a blue one, purple, etc., etc. So instead of trying to cut the size that I needed, I just kind of eyeballed and then just started tearing, and it, did little, like I'd put it down, no, that was too big, tear a little more, things like that. Now, if I tore too much, then I just went ahead, adhered it, and then tore another piece to just continue to fill up whatever it was that I am doing. And in this case, it's the leaves and also the stem. But I really liked the process. It was really kind of fun. And, you're just tearing at papers. If you notice, when I finished with the green, even though there were little pieces left, I went ahead and put them in the envelopes. One, because I do have a specific envelope for those, so why not keep it? And two, because those little pieces do come in handy for later. Now it's time to work on the flower, and I decided I was going to do an orange, peachy kind of flower. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm just pulling out some orange from my orange envelope, or orange clear envelope. And now what I'm doing, I have this container that I fill with my junk, oh my goodness, not junk journal, gel prints. So anything that had orange or like an orangey color, I'm pulling out, just so I can add a variety of orange papers to these petals. So even though a lot of those are like kind of pinkish orange, like you can see in that one right there, I still pulled it because there are sections that are just really orange. But so once I did that, I'm just going through again, looking at the petals, the different sizes, and then trying to decide which shades of orange I want for those petals. Now, this is the first time I've done this, and I will tell you, I learned a lot. So, one, I probably should have paid a little bit more attention to like a light source or the shading. So, in some parts of the flower, probably could have been lighter versus just kind of randomness, which is what I did. But again, I still like the quirkiness of it, so I still like it, but you can tell it. You could tell it was my first try, right? Another thing I would have done differently is I would have looked more at the image and decided what was kind of like the back view versus the top layers. Because I just kind of looked at each petal and just decided to lay down, these colors. And it's not so much now when I'm just starting to add the petals, but later as this video goes on, you can tell I can tell where I should have started with different areas, because had to, let me see, how do I say this? I had to tear the pieces otter shapes, very thin areas, because I didn't want to overlap. So, like I mentioned, I probably should have did those petals first, and then the upper layer, top layer could have been placed right over it. I hope that makes sense. But maybe as you're looking at this, you'll see what I mean. So I love using just kind of what I'm calling junk papers, because you can see there that these are like tickets, envelope liners. Over there on the right, I have a bingo card, which I don't think I use, but it just adds so much to the piece, because everything not necessarily has a story, but has a different look, and it's just really fun. Okay, here's a portion right here, what I was talking about. So obviously that petal should be in the back, but yet I did the other petal, which should have been on the front, first. So luckily it was still a little wet, so I was able to peel it up. But again, that's not the only part that happened. Again, live and learn. This was my first time. I did at this point realize, okay, I think I need to do some sections lighter, some sections darker, things like that. But anyhow, so that little blue spatula thing was a little freebie from our local Walmart, and I've had it in my little pencil holder forever. And if you follow my videos and watch me, I use my finger more than anything. I have these tools, and it's just so much easier to use your fingers. But my fingers were getting really gummy and almost dirty, probably because of the ink on the papers. So I was noticing when I was putting these petals down, they kind of had like a roughness to it, if that's the right word you want to use. And then I remembered I had this little rubber spatula thing, and this was perfect because it kept my hands clean for the most part, and it spread the glue wonderfully, and the glue just rolled right off it once they dried. So again, I'm just quickly going through the different petals, decoupaging, I guess is really the right word, and putting it all together. And you can tell already that the flower is totally taking shape, and I love it. With all that mixture of, the gel prints, the random envelope liners, the tickets, things like that. It's just super fun. And the thing that I think is funny about this is, so on the left side it says collect moments, not things. I almost feel like I'm doing the exact opposite, because if I didn't collect all those random pieces of paper, I probably wouldn't have been able to finish this, or at least it wouldn't have been as quirky. So I guess sometimes it is important to collect things. But anyhow, just thought I'd notice that, or note that. What I decide to do is, you see all those empty spaces that I'm trying to cover up with these little skinny scraps. It's funny because I'm not measuring, I'm just kind of tearing and guessing. There were a lot of those little empty spaces, but when it all dried and everything, I just used a black Sharpie and outlined the different petals, all those little, what are they called, stamens in the middle, drew those in as well. But I hope you like this, and if you do, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and continue to see my junk journal process videos. Bye.